Let's find out what will happen if the person who saves lives is now trapped 1,000 feet below inside a cave. Even the government itself does not want to help him, yet he has saved many lives so far. Let's find out whether this person, dying in pain inside the cave, will survive or not. This person named Cecilia Lopes has been exploring the case for a very long time. Now his passion was to explore all the unexplored caves left on this earth. And during this time, he finds out that there is a cave in the world's largest jungle that no one has explored yet. The most important thing he was told was that he could find many ancient archaeological items inside that cave. So Celilio gets ready to go inside this cave, and he learns that this cave is 2.5 kilometers long with very tight paths in between that are extremely difficult to cross. On the side of the cave, there are sharp stones that can pierce through a person's chest in a second. And the biggest problem was that this cave is right in the middle of the Amazon jungle. This meant that the arrival of any rescue team or any other help from behind is almost negligible. Even after hearing all these difficulties, Celilio couldn't stop himself, and after researching about this cave for almost a year, he goes. On September 8, 2014, they head straight from Spain to this cave, and after getting off the plane, they drive for a full 20 hours to reach the cave, and after camping at this place, they rest for one night and reach the entrance of the cave the next morning. As soon as they enter the cave, they get their first shock when they see that the surface of this cave is not a normal plane at all. The path was so uneven that they were having difficulty walking, and along with that, there were large pits inside the cave. If someone falls into them, they won't be able to come back up. And the problem was also that no one had explored this cave before, which means Celilio and his friends didn't have a map of the cave, and they were moving forward without knowing anything. You can understand that the environment inside the cave was so bad that in an entire day, their team could only advance 100 meters because whenever they had to cross a pit, they would first deal with a stone and hang their rope over it through an anchor point. But the good news so far was that they had so much equipment that they could spend the night inside the cave while moving forward. And the plus point was that they were also finding many old archaeological items, which increased the excitement of advancing in the cave even more. And by this time, everything was going according to their plan, and they had been exploring this cave for a full 10 days. And this 10th day was their last day in the cave. But no one knew that such a big tragedy was about to happen to them. On their last day, these people reach a place called Tea Room at the end of the cave. Let me tell you that this was the most dangerous area of the cave, with such a tight space that only a human head could fit inside. But slowly these people were moving forward inside the cave, and at this place they encountered a very large pit that seemed absolutely impossible to cross. Then, according to their plan, they go near the pit, drill from above, and tie their rope to it with an anchor and throw it down. Celilio is the first to prepare to go down. He ties the rope and slowly descends. His friends above know when he reaches the bottom and then follow him. As Celilio descends, he is very excited because he has become the first person in the world to reach inside this cave. And he is also excited about the archaeological items he might find below. This joy suddenly turns into a big problem when Celilio sees stones falling above his head. He is shocked, wondering where these stones are falling from. Then the sound of the rope snapping is heard, and suddenly the anchor comes loose, and Celilio falls hard inside the cave. It was Celilio's fate that even after falling 15 feet down, not a single blue stone had hit him yet, and suddenly he felt a sharp pain in his back. And the pain was so intense that he screamed loudly, feeling as if every one of his body's 11 bones had broken. and this pain was gradually getting worse. After which Celilio's screams echoed throughout the entire cave, and his friends standing above also realized what had happened to Celilio, and the reason was that Celilio's rib had broken. Despite the immense pain, Celilio tried to somehow stand up, but it wasn't possible because Celilio couldn't feel his leg while trying to stand. On the other side, his friend reaches down to him by attaching a rope, and upon seeing Celilio half dead, he is momentarily shocked, but not losing courage, he decides to lift Celilio, and as he does so, Celilio experiences more intense pain and screams loudly. Now, both his companions use their brains. One stays with Celilio, while the other goes outside to call for help. They also knew that they were now in the middle of the world's largest jungle, the Amazon, and it would take many days for help to arrive at this place. During all this time, Celilio was lying inside the cave, writhing in pain, and every day his friend would feed him while he lay there. This continued for about a week, after which a medical team from Peru arrived, and as soon as they reached inside the cave, they gave Celilio painkillers, which reduced his pain a little. However, the big problem was that Celilio's condition was so critical that if he wasn't taken to a hospital, he could die right there. After this, Celilio's friends asked the Spanish government for help, but the Spanish government outright refuses, saying they cannot help Celilio here in this way. This was going to be the biggest problem for Celilio and his others so far. But as I told you at the beginning of the video, Celilio had done a lot of so far, along with which he had also carried out many rescues, due to which very big people in the caving community knew him, after which people from the caving community gather from all over the world to get Celilio out, and among them, 10 such people from Spain soon reached the Amazon jungle, and 12 days later, almost people from the entire caving community come forward saying that they will somehow get Celilio out of the cave, and by now Celilio had been trapped inside the cave for a full 12 days. And now a rescue mission is started to save Celilio's life, in which first of all these cavers bring a very large structure that was very strong, and they go down and put it on the silo stretcher. But here stands another big problem. When coming down, Celilio was conscious, moving his arms and legs while crossing tight paths. He had come so far down inside the cave, but taking the stretcher back up like that was a very difficult task. After this, everyone makes one more plan, and after drilling from this last point to the entrance of the cave, they insert the rope into the rolling system, and this rope is tied further. Celilio was slowly being pulled up with the stretcher, and during this time, Celilio was screaming from the excruciating pain he had been enduring for many days. It took many hours to bring Celilio back up, after which an emergency helicopter was also deployed, in which the suffering Celilio was soon taken to the hospital, and after a few months of treatment, Celilio had fully recovered again. He starts walking slowly, and now his health had become very good. Now a 14-year-old child is seeing floating corpses inside the cave. Will he be able to save his life or not? Be sure to click on the video to check.